Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another edition of the show. Trek Wednesday, Stardate 2016.076 at 22:10 Eastern Standard Time. We'd like to welcome everybody here to yet another episode of the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. I would like to first introduce our Chief Logistics Officer, the man who handles not only the paperwork, but some of the headaches that we have to do in order to get the show off the ground. Captain TimberWolf, sir, please lead off with a good howl.
Captain TimberWolf, sir, please lead off with a good howl.
The double feedback is awesome. I know it. I love it.
Captain TimberWolf, sir, please lead off with a good howl.
Becky, if you can, please mute yourself for a second.
The feedback is awesome. I know it. I love it.
Oh, she's got a patchback going.
Yep, it's feedback. Alright, we'll continue on.
Got a patchback going.
Yeah, I think she's crashed or something here. Hang on. Of course, there wouldn't be technical difficulties without the show.
We'll continue on.
You mean the show without technical difficulties?
What are the other? Come on, alcohol, this, that, whatnot. Anyway, moving right along. We have the Chief Intelligence Officer, who's got more sarcasm latent in his veins than anybody else needs to know. SarcasmDetector, thank you very much for coming back on here. And we would like to hear some of your reports on what you were doing while you were away, but we'll get to that in a moment. Welcome back to the show.
I feel slightly chewed up.
Don't worry, things will be better. I promise you. Our chief filmmaker and a person who always includes us into some really good immersion extraordinaire. The emergency role-playing hologram known as Zeph Films.
Hello.
Thank you, sir, for joining us tonight. Our chief instructor, who likes to break out the Klingons, the Batleths, the whips, the chains, and everything else that is in the deep, dark dungeons of Starfleet Academy. TeacherKirby, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Hey, now you'll know you only end up down in the dungeon if you get detention. Anyway, hi, how's it going?
Speaking of a person who probably would end up in detention constantly, the chief of cheesy tactics here, Captain SOB.
Now, I am very offended at that statement, Odin. That was very targeted.
You're very offended?
Well, you're implying that I get in trouble often, that I do things that would get me in trouble. It's terrible.
Well, you know, you have had detention all this week for attempted market manipulation.
Oh, this again.
There's also creating the character named Donald J. Trump.
Look,
Mm-hmm.
that was just... Oh, okay, you got me.
All right, then. On to a little bit more of sombering news here. We're going to dedicate this episode to memory of one of the streamers for STO, as well as a couple other games out there. Redneck Academy 77. We want to thank you for all of you've done for the community, as well as for what you've done in general for streaming. And I'd like to thank Valken FX for bringing this to my attention. He's already done a very good job in helping out the family. And I just want to say thank you, Valken, for what you've done as well as bringing more eyes onto Redneck Academy's work and more people viewing it. So check it out. We'll put a link in there in the show notes, going to Valken's stream, as well as a link for Redneck Academy's own YouTube channel. And our Chief Logistics Officer would like to introduce somebody here, straight out of JAGged in Starfleet. Take it away, TimberWolf.
Alright guys, well I told you that I had legal counsel when it came to Axanar. Well, I looked at the paperwork, that ain't gonna work. So I promoted her, and she's gonna be our guest whenever we actually have legal documentation to go over for Axanar. She is the most qualified when it comes to this, as she has legal degrees. So she's the best one for it. She is Chief JAG Officer Shaarot. Say hello, ma'am.
Hi, everybody.
Now, what I'm seeing so far is, they've done detailed complaints, amended complaints, and me, Odin, and Teacher, we all have notes of just how ridiculous this has gone. And, we'll bring them up as we go, but you've read over the documentation that's been amended over the past couple of weeks. Can you describe it for us? Just give us an overview of what's going on and just how crazy this is getting.
Before we go into that, I must say this one statement here. This episode of the show is for mature audiences only.
That was a really good warning. That was a really good warning to give before me, Odin.
Take it away.
What this lawsuit is, I mean, my opinion of what it is and what in reality is they're trying to shut Axanar down. There have been, and honestly, I couldn't even get a definitive number how many fan films there have been. There are literally that many, and not just in Trek. You can go across many genres, not just sci-fi. This has never happened to this degree. Typically, when something like this is going to happen, they're going to do a D&C, which is called a cease and desist. They're telling you, if you don't stop, we're going to take legal action. The fact that they did not do a cease and desist, or I'm sorry, a C&D, that they did not do a cease and desist tells at least me and my mentor, people who have been in the legal field, that they're not taking this as seriously as they are putting it out there. The real crux of it is they don't want Axanar to get out there. They don't want us to see the fact that a product can be produced, a quality product. It isn't going to take billions of dollars. The biggest thing that Axanar took was dedication and love to Star Trek. I'm going to put myself out there. I don't really give two shits. CBS and Paramount don't love Star Trek. They love the fact that they've got this money horse they've been riding for years. If they had any degree of actual love for Star Trek, they would have met with Alec Peters and tried to come to an agreement. Alec Peters and CBS and Paramount have met. But nobody really wants to say, you know what, you can do this, but you can't do this. I know they can do it. They did it with STO. In the beginning days of STO, oh my God. All right, well, we're going to change this and just, oh, wait, no, they said we can't do this. This is not new for CBS and Paramount. They hold it over us. They hold the franchise hostage. And that's basically what they're doing here. What it could mean for Axanar. In reality, a product has to be produced. A product was paid for. It was not paid for by Alec Peters, but it was produced. So they are going to have to produce something. What that is yet, we don't know. I mean, the level of detail and ridiculousness they're going to. You've got the Vulcan ears and uniforms, and they're really digging for any little piece of, yes, that's our IP. And IP means intellectual property. If they really want to dig deep, and if Axanar really wants to come back at them, I honestly say, any Trek you've ever seen anywhere, any reference, bring it. Throw it at them. Because right now, CBS and Paramount are trying to bury them in paperwork. So the proper response would be, bury them in paperwork. Okay, well, we've got the Trek convention. Yes, Creation has permission to do it. What about all those fans that are dressed up? All those costumes. There's a sea of them. And that's just not one. You can go anywhere in this country and across the world even. And there's a con going on right now for Star Trek. So they're using the IP. This is not for any other reason than to shut Axanar down because it's the 50th anniversary. And they want to make as much money as they can. Right now, a little battle going on that they're trying to keep hush-hush. Beyond can't come out before the television series. because Paramount only owns limited rights. They only own the movies, and CBS owns the rest. So CBS is telling them, no, you're going to wait. We want the bigger piece of the pie first, and then you get the rest. And that's really all this boils down to. It's a giant pissing contest, and we are stuck in the middle of it.
Well, I remember seeing just how detailed they're going with this, and I'm trying to figure out how they're going to make some of these stick, because I know I've heard Odin go full Cisco on Klingon language, that they're actually having that as their intellectual property. We have triangle-shaped metals. Really? Really, CBS? So it's just, these little details that they're going into about what they're trying to claim. To me, when it comes to things like triangle-shaped metals or Klingon language, do they really have a footing when it comes to this in court, or are they just using it as a smokescreen?
The triangle-shaped symbols, yeah, they could. That they have something on. But the fact that this will even get to court, I don't even see it happening. I really don't. As far as the Klingon language, they have no holding there. They have no ground. That's not owned by them. It wasn't created by them. It was created for them, licensed and copyrighted by another person who can use it somewhere else if he wants to. Typically, it's not. It's Trek because, again, he's making money off it too. But it's not theirs. They don't own that.
There is actually a bit of a gray area with that in the way, one, that it was actually put in on the response, and two, the creator of the actual Klingon language, Mark Okrand, who took the bits that James Doohan initially came up with and then expanded upon it. He's an actual linguistics professor. He studied this. He was actually hired by Paramount Studios to develop, Paramount Pictures to develop it. So with that said, there's a gray area as far as exactly who owns it, whether it's him and then Paramount licensed him to be able to do that work and then he still retains the rights to it, or if it's something that the Paramount Pictures itself actually owns that IP. So if that's the case, then CBS can't really claim the rights to what Paramount Pictures has owned.
Then that's a very good point, Odin. A big part of this lawsuit is CBS and Paramount are like, oh, well, we're going to do this together. You can't. Because one has to claim one part and the other has to claim the other. I'm curious as to what Paramount thinks that they have in this. They don't have a horse in this race. Because Axanar is more of a movie and less an episode, it's still not being marketed that way. It's being marketed as a TV show or as an episodic feature. I'm curious as to what they're thinking. I'd love to know because they don't own it. They don't own any merchandise. They don't own anything. All they own is the movies. So I'm really curious. I've seen a lot of ridiculous things being said. And from my honest opinion, my work in a courtroom, I work with lawyers, and I've worked in federal cases. So when I say I've seen some shit, I've seen some shit. This couldn't be more laughable. This is not the same thing as Vanilla Ice and Ice Ice Baby. That was clear cut. He stole it, and he's making money off of it. And that's one thing that people aren't seeing. Axanar is not making profit. They made enough money to produce it, but there is no money left over like with Paramount that they can put money into other movies, into other things. It's being put into this production and to give the fans what the fans paid for.
I will ask this, and I use this because it was brought up by some comments on various posts. Star Trek Horizon. That was a fan film that was just completed and put on YouTube in the past couple of weeks now. And in my opinion, it's a good film. What differentiates Star Trek Horizon, a completed fan fiction film, from Axanar that's right now not even from some stories, not even a completed script, and other stories a completed script, but there's no physical film of anything yet?
Well, that's a big part, too. is Axanar has not been completed. So they're kind of jumping the gun here, and I do agree with that motion that was filed. The the only difference is Horizon has been completed and Axanar has not. There is no difference legality-wise. There's no difference at all. The second they reference Star Trek, the Federation, Starfleet, Klingons, Romulans, Vulcans, the second they reference any of that, then it goes into the intellectual property of CBS and Paramount. So the only difference is one is completed and one's not. And you're trying to sue for something that doesn't exist yet. I don't know how that I don't know exactly how that would work. But as far as my knowledge, you can't sue for a car accident that didn't happen yet. So really the only difference is one is completed and one's not. Legally wise, nothing. Horizon should be sued right now. If that's what they're trying to do and protect their intellectual property, Horizon should be sued right now. And honestly, what they're saying by suing one and not suing the rest, especially, the bigger ones, Horizons, Renegades, is they're saying, we like this one, but we don't like what you're doing. And because they have not sued, because they haven't done anything for 30 years, more than that, we're on our 50th anniversary, so we're looking at probably like 47 years they've done nothing when it comes to fanfic. That means a precedent has been set and they've allowed it. That is a huge argument in Axanar's favor.
So I got a quick question to ask. I have a couple of points I want to bring up here. First of all, in the chat, a couple of comments have come up saying that Axanar is actually building a studio, or they have built a studio, and once they're done filming Axanar, they can use that studio to do other productions. So in a way, that is an investment that they can profit from in the long term. They're additionally selling merchandise. So Axanar branded merchandise that has something to do with Star Trek. So they can be profiting from that in that way as well.
Well, it
So
depends on. Sorry. It depends on where the money goes. They can make merchandise. They can create a studio. Where's that money going? Is it going back into the production, or is it going in someone's pocket? Is someone making money and making a profit off of Axanar? From a Ferengi standpoint, Axanar would be a tank. This whole idea is insane because honestly, they're doing a favor. There is.
Somebody is profiting off of Annexer because somebody needs to be paid for the rent for the warehouse that's being used as the studio.
Well, there's a
I
difference.
guess the big thing.
There's a difference between profit and paying someone for a job being done. I know there's a little gray area because Alec Peters did take a paycheck for doing a job, but I guess the best way I could put it, when Paramount came out with Into Darkness or Star Trek 2009, when those came out, it wasn't just the production costs that were paid. Once those production costs were made and everything outside expenses was met, that is the profit that Paramount made. If they did not, if they only recovered the cost of the production, no profit was made. They couldn't claim any. Because you have to, and I know we're traveling into the world of accounting, which makes my eye roll in the back of my head, but once you get into the accounts or the expenses and how much money was brought in and all that, it changes the landscape. So if profit was made outside the cost of the production, meaning let's say $200,000 outside of the cost of production was made, if that money does not go into Axanar or go back to the fans in some manner and it was kept by Axanar Studios for whatever reason, that is profit. Anything else, anything below that, they're just paying expenses to make the film.
all right, well, let me just reiterate my point. So they're building a studio with the money that they've raised. So after the movie's done, it's completed, it's been broadcast, it's been published, whatever, they still have that studio, which was built from money acquired for making this, right? They can go on and use that studio to make other movies and profit from that.
If that is the case, then that will have to be answered for, unless it goes into another fan production for Star Trek, which is, again, what the fans want. After everything is all said and done, and again, we're working in ifs, and ifs a very big word. After all of that is said and done, if this studio still remains, we don't know what they're going to do. They might come to us, the fans, the ones who gave them money, and say, okay, what do you want us to do with this? How are we going to proceed? Because the money is not Axanar's. The money belongs to the fans. So we're waiting to see what they may do, when in all reality it might already be settled. It might be, in fact, when we donated the money, I don't know if any of you actually read the terms of what was happening when you donated it. I didn't read as much as I probably should have. It might even be in there. As of right now, this moment, until Axanar is completed, if they are actually building a studio, if the studio exists, it's perfectly fine, because they're using it for Axanar.
It's what happens afterwards. All right, so we were talking about ifs, and this is the thing, the ifs here. And what I'm talking about is this thing hasn't been released yet. They haven't filmed anything except for the prelude and a couple of trailers, right? So
Yep.
there's nothing concrete yet. Nothing's been produced. And yet they're trying to shut them down and stop them.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, and let me rephrase this in a different way. Say you sue me for slander, but I haven't said anything yet. Isn't that impinging on my right of free speech? I haven't
There's the
done
point.
anything.
Yep, sorry. That's the point right there. You just made it. That's the point right there. You haven't done it yet. Now, you might be saying, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to rip Becky a new one. But until you do it, nothing's been done yet. It can't actually be a threat because it's only words. So until you actually complete it, I can't go after you for libel or slander. So that's the point right there. It's not there yet. Now, the reason why a cease and desist exists, and that's why they should have kicked it off with that, is because that's for when somebody finds out you're going to do something and you shouldn't be doing it. Because, again, it could belong to someone else or whatever the case may be. That's what they should have done. They should have went in there with the C&D and said, stop. We don't want you to do this. And if you continue to do this and you produce this feature film, then we're going to come after you. But they didn't do that. They started off with the lawsuit. His back ass words, really.
Well,
So there was no C&D actually produced.
No.
It's their IP. They can really pursue anything they want, really. Like whether they go with the C&D first or do what they're doing now, it doesn't matter. That's their right to go whatever venue they want. It's weird, but it's really, they can do whatever the hell they want in that venue.
Not really. Here's a not really. Sorry, go ahead.
Go on.
I know, Alan, you work with music all the time to make those amazing videos. Okay, I know you pay for them. I was a choreographer. I created dance and visual art. The right to use music in popular culture music, I paid for that right. Now, as things were changing, some people had to update their licenses to get new things, laws changed. Now, even though I was going to use music and I didn't update my law yet, or update my license yet, and I actually stumbled across this. Someone tried to shut me down because I didn't update my license yet. I had not yet produced the product. I was waiting for a certain time, and then I was going to update that license and pay them more money. And I actually ran across that. One of the reasons I hate Metallica is because I didn't actually do it yet. I didn't actually commit the crime against the IP. So until the crime is committed, or the breach is committed against the IP, there's really nothing that can be done. I mean, I understand your point of, what you're trying to say, but what Axanar says they're going to do and what they've actually done yet, we don't know because we don't have our hands on it. And CBS and Paramount can't get their hands on it right now either because it hasn't been finished.
Oh, no. I was just saying, like, they don't have to go with a cease and desist first and then go with the lawsuit that they're going with now. They can do whichever,
Yeah.
they can go whatever route they want. It's weird that they didn't go with the cease and desist first, but really, it's, in all legal purposes, I think we can agree that Star Trek IP belongs to these two companies over here. That's a non-starter there. They own the right to Star Trek, so they can do whatever fucking lawsuit they want. It doesn't matter. It's just I do find it's weird that they didn't do a cease and desist. I firmly believe that there is a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that is not public eye. I think there was actually a blog that was posted by a CBS lawyer either today or yesterday that I started to read, and he goes in, he's like, there is so much stuff that nobody sees that's in behind the scenes. And I don't know, the whole Axanar thing, like I see a lot of blogs, like Luke Critter did a really good blog today. I'm seeing a lot of good opinions from the public in that, but me personally, I'm trying to hold judgment until I have all the facts myself. And I hope that's, it's a mess, but there's something shady going on. And and I can't 100% say that there isn't something going on shady with the Axanar side, and I can't 100% say that.
We lost you, Alan.
Yes. Did you? Hello.
I think he's talking to someone else.
I hear him. No, I can hear him.
I hear him.
Yeah, there's something shady going on with both sides. I can't put my finger on it, but it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, really.
Okay, so I gotta ask a question here. I just a little redirect, if you don't mind. Since we're talking about what they own, you brought up a point here, and you mentioned something, and the other guys want to talk about some of the things. Like you mentioned the Klingon language and the triangle-shaped pieces of metal. You said the Vulcan ears. They're trying to claim IP on Vulcan ears, so the pointy elf ears. I think maybe J.R. Tolkien might have something to say about that, or it's even
or Santa Claus,
or Santa Claus, or it might even be older. That's pretty much folklore right now. I don't see how they can claim that.
The only thing that they're claiming is when you put those shaped ears with Vulcan. That's what they're claiming. The actual shape itself, no, they can't claim that. I mean, they might be trying to. I never said they were intelligent by any stretch. But what they're trying to claim is that when you put those shaped ears with the Vulcan symbol and the word Vulcan and all the lore that goes with it, that's R.I.P. That's what they're trying to claim. They're digging deep. They are really, really digging deep. And the only thing that they can go after is what's been published. They have absolutely no idea. Axanar might screw us totally and not give us anything. So right now, they're just going on Prelude and a couple trailers and little bits and pieces that we've been gnawing at the bit to see. So, yeah, the triangle-shaped symbols, from that part in Star Trek history, they're going after a lot. Axanar did try to change it a little bit, but to keep with the feel and flavor, but they are different. If you look, they are different. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say somebody in the chat brought up kind of a good point. One that actually came to my mind, and they have Saval in there, like an established character from the Trek franchise, and they're kind of reusing that character. Wouldn't they kind of need some sort of permission to use that character that's been developed in the Trek franchise? It's like all the legwork that Star Trek Online has to go through before they can even consider putting a character in game by the same name of someone else.
Well, let me interject real quick on this. By that same logic, then Star Trek Continue should have been shut down years ago.
But see, you can't go by that defense. That is not a valid defense in this. Like, everyone else is doing it. Why aren't you going after them? You can't use that as an objective defense in this matter.
For IP law, actually, you can, because then that's showing that you are showing some sort of explicit bias against one group.
Yeah, it's precedent. It's precedent. That's a really big word here. Is precedent. Sorry, Odin. I mean to.
No,
cut
you're
you off.
good. You're good.
Yeah, it's precedent. The reason why the difference between STO and Star Trek Continues, Horizons, Renegades, Axanar, the list could go on and on and on. The reason why they are different, STO makes profit. Those do not. It's that little tiny word, that little 6-letter word. That's the hang-up.
That we know of.
As of right now, yes, unless we hear something else.
And the other fan film things that we know of, because nobody has really looked deep into those ones either. Because, let's be honest, Renegades, they don't really hold a candle to Axanar. Let's be serious here, all right? Axanar, the trailer, the 20-minute video, as a video guy, blew my bleeping mind here. Like, blew my mind. Renegade, I can tell that whatever money they brought in went into going and getting some fabric from Fabricland, whipping up some costumes, and then the rest of the money going into CGI for the ship scenes. And I actually kind of lost interest kind of quick. Horizons, same kind of thing. A lot of their money went into the CGI, and everything else was green scene to the T. Like, everything. I think the only thing that wasn't green screen was the captain's chair for the bridge. But wow, I got way off course with this. But yeah, I was just saying that we know of with all the other like Renegades and all that. We don't know if anybody made a profit off of that. So that was just.
I will say that I have tried to dig deeper. This is lockdown. We are only getting what's allowed to be given, unless Axanar says we're going to give you more. I do have my ways, and I tried to get as much information because suits like this are a matter of public record. However, you can lock it down during the time that it's happening, and that's basically what's happened. They're locking down almost anything. It's very difficult to get extra information to see what else is going on down there. I would bet my good eye there's a hell of a lot more going on back here, and we just don't know it yet. I really, really would.
I think the overall thing that we are concerned with as fans, aside from not seeing a really well-produced Trek film, movie, episode, whatever it is, whatever the final product will be, is that this will have far-reaching implications if it ever gets to trial and is dealt with that way, and there will be some ruling coming down one way or the other. There should be some sort of balance between protecting your IP and fair use without making a profit. The gray line has been introduced with technology and with the advancement in how independent groups can get funding now. So that has been, we don't have to actually sell anything to anybody or take anybody's ideas, so we're safe here, but we can get a whole bunch of people to donate money to us. And hey, look, we can actually put on a production without us spending out-of-pocket expenses on this. Great. So, yes, that's something that's new. The law has not caught up with that yet. I hope the law understands what it is to be able to perpetuate an idea and keep it going while the IP holder still makes a living off of it. But there has to be something, in my own personal opinion, there has to be something that needs to be done to at the very least revise the Sonny Bono Act to make it a bit more fair for other people and other groups to improvise on it, on other concepts, instead of locking things down like Klingon language. Okay, well, if it sounds something similar to the Klingon language, you can get sued for it. Really? No.
Well, on kind of brushing on the topic of like concern for like the smaller peeps like myself and other people who use licensed Star Trek material in their videos, quote unquote. I do know that things like AdSense on YouTube is starting to buckle down a little bit, and if you things are getting like flagged willy-nilly and stuff like that, but I can't remember what the hell the point I was going to be though. But it should just be as simple: are you making money off this? No? Okay, have fun. Keep doing what you're doing. Like me, I'm not making any money off the shit I do, none whatsoever. I'm in the red. But like, but if it flags up as you're monetizing and you're making a profit off of somebody else's music without a valid license. And in the music world, Becky, you know this, there's two different types of licenses.
Yep.
There's the user license, which allows you to use the music infinite amount of times or up to 10,000, 20,000, whatever. And then there's a commercial license, which costs more for that license, but allows you to use that for commercial purposes to bring in an income for that kind of stuff. And I hate legal crap.
Can you imagine? I do too. It's like temporal mechanics.
Jury duty is fun, though. I will say this: I had the honor of doing jury duty, and that was fun.
I'd like to be on the other side for once. That'd be nice.
All right, we're going to move on with this. We're going to definitely have more within the discussion on the show notes. As well, we're going to include G&T's write-up and Loot Critter's write-up as well, and any other external sites that people want to bring into it to continue on the discussion. Please, by all means, add it in. We'll be more than happy to review it, look at it, and continue the discussion. TimberWolf, can you give us a little bit of detail on the holodeck patch note?
Why, yes, I can give you so much and yet so little. Our singular patch note this week: back-end server updates. Now, me being the logistics officer of the show, you know I deal with paperwork, and I have submitted plenty of paperwork to get more information about this most important of patch notes, that it must be singled out and left by itself. I haven't heard anything, so I can't tell you what's going on, what kind of updates, or anything at all. So we're just going to have to say, okay, they're putting on.
We now resume this after SOB ate Kirby's ball sack. I mean, yeah, whatever. Right, sure.
What?
That's great.
we were right now.
Once again,
This
was
is how reputations get started.
Our patch notes, where we left off. The patch note does have nothing to do with Kirby's ball gags, Spencer's ball cheese, or anything that has to do with balls. We want to make for sure that is clear. It was duct tape. The correct answer was duct tape. Thank you.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are no longer blacked out. We have whited back in. We're online. Anyway.
Why is it gotta be white?
Because, I don't know, it's just some sort of weird
Such
societal
racist.
thing where
God.
white is always good and black is evil. I don't know. I didn't write this thing, I was just born into it. Anyway, so our one patch note, please. Yes, take it away.
Well, before I was so rudely interrupted by Cryptic, CBS, oh hell, we don't know who the fuck did it. Anyway, all they've given us is a one-liner, and we have no clue what the hell they're doing. So we can assume, and I'm going to use this visualization just to piss off Alan. We're going to reference the picture from Twitter of their server room. Alan, you're welcome. We're going to reference they're going to do something to the behind of that, the back of that, and probably maybe, I don't know, zip tie it a few times? Not quite sure. We know Alan will have an aneurysm thinking about that image. You're welcome.
I hate you.
Well, we honestly would like to bring a system developer onto the show to ask some questions about it, but we haven't heard back yet. Moving right along here. SOB, there were some things that you wanted to discuss, but the big thing on a lot of people's mind is on the changes to the skill tree.
Well, you mean the spec tree.
Sorry,
That's the
spec
big
tree,
change.
yes.
Okay, so we have this new lovely spec tree on Tribble, the strategic specialization. What this specialization does is it focuses on taking advantage of the Threatening Stance ability. That's a new unlock under the new system. So this has some nice bonuses, a lot of damage bonuses, but to me, the most important part of this is that it has on the tier 2 a taunt. There's not many taunts in the game, and this is going to be huge for aggro tanks out there. It's currently got a few things in that spec that are not fully working, so as to how effective everything is, I'm not going to say yet. For example, in Agronauts just a little bit ago, they were talking about how the cooldown reduction was actually extending cooldowns. So, yeah, that's. I'll just let them take care of those issues before reviewing all the specific abilities.
So you're thinking that, yes, the big takeaway from that is the taunt.
Yes, I think that is the most important portion of this.
Well, there's also some areas there where they can have hit point stacking at that point, right? When they're getting shot at.
I'll have to look at it again. Yeah, but I believe that is part of it.
Yeah, it varies depending whether you have Threatening Stance on or off. If you have it on, usually it gives you more defensive abilities, and if you have it off, it gives you more offensive abilities. I think I would have liked to see a little bit more of a mix-up there. It's having more offensive abilities while it's on as well. There's some weird stuff going on as well. There's some one of the abilities gives you a stacking damage bonus or a critical severity bonus on the tooltip, or what they've described in the blog is it comes up to a maximum of 10% crit severity, which is huge. 10% crit severity. Oh my lord, that's wow. That's just wow. Although
Sarcasm detected.
Yeah. Although someone did mention to me earlier today that while they were testing it out, it was actually coming out to 20%, which is a little bit better. So I'm not sure if that's intended, if it's stacking too much, or if the tooltip is wrong.
No, it's intended because when I tested it, the first point in there is the 10%, but if you max out the mini tree for it, it ends up being 20% if it maxes out.
It's probably the same thing that with the torpedo immunity. Yeah, that's a good one where people are making fun of the PvPers with that one, and it end up turning out to be make fun of Odinite and his torpedo. So
Attack
that
pattern.
part, oh yeah, you know,
Attack
seriously.
pattern. Screw Odin.
Now,
Yes.
the trait.
That is some immersion breaking mechanics, yo. What the hell?
Yeah, flippity flap. Yes.
The
Yeah.
trait is actually pretty interesting. It's not the best trait. It's probably a good filler, if that. But it's a plus 15% Cat 2 damage buff for 15 seconds when you hit Brace for Impact.
Now the big question is that going to be for all damage or only for energy weapon damage?
That's bonus all damage.
Okay.
Cat 2
we have
is
that.
usually all damage. Usually, not all the time, but
All
yeah,
damage
it's
except torpedoes.
so that's if you don't have all hands on deck running, you can trigger that. That's what, a 25% uptime?
Yep.
15% for 15 seconds once every minute, because you can trigger the Brace for Impact once every minute. It's cooldown
Correct.
is 1 minute. And if you have all hands on deck, then all bets are off.
No more power creep, just power tsunami.
Yes, it's quite nice.
There are better traits. I mean, when you have only 5 spaceship trait slots and you're very limited in what you can pick, you're probably not going to go for this one, especially if you've got a lot of starships and you've got a lot of traits to pick from. That one might go on the wayside. But if you're doing things on the cheap, then this actually looks like a pretty interesting trait.
I'd say it's one of the better specialization traits.
I would actually
Certainly.
say for a spike build, that is a pretty damn good trait that you can use to load up along with any other buffs that you have, be it Cat 1 or Cat 2, and then completely unload on somebody with. Oh, wait, sorry. People don't PvP anymore, do they?
Not really. Most of the people that did PvP, the sane ones have went to games where that's a focus by the dev team.
Yeah, you're not going to get much of a spike out of 15% anyways, especially if you're min-maxed to the teeth. Category 2 is diluted to high heavens.
Alright, well, maybe for energy weapons, but for torpedoes, Cat 2, yeah, we can use any other sources of Cat 2 that we can get our hands on and then just throw down. So the kinetic community would probably enjoy this very, very much.
So next up, there's still quite a few that don't understand just how valuable coalition disruptors are. So myself and a few others were on Tribble earlier. I just want to point out that every person on a team can have 5 stacks of the coalition proc. 1 coalition proc is the equivalent to a pen proc plus the disruptor proc. So you can have up to 5 per person, which that alone is insane. But if you have an entire team stacking coalition weapons, it's just truly crazy how fast you guys will burn through content.
That's interesting. That's actually very interesting. If a target is heavily debuffed like that, then you can have one person with the old meta of anti-proton crit D weapons will get a massive buff.
No. The coalition disruptors it's a disruptor debuff only. So they have to be disruptors, regular disruptors.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, you get load up on crit D times 3, crit D times 4 weapons. Actually, yeah, crit D times 4 weapons are going to be king in that case. I mean, damage is still pretty good, but when you have a target that's that heavily debuffed, yeah, that sounds pretty interesting.
We did one run over there for ISA, being that ISA actually works now again over there. We had 3 people doing coalition disruptors and 2 just regular pen disruptors. The average debuff with 4 scimitars and the Crenum Imperium, everyone had somewhere between 220 and 240% debuff rating, which I'm just not used to seeing over on Holodeck.
And this is on Tribble, just to make sure that we're clear on this. This is done on Tribble with the changes.
With those debuff changes already active over here.
Are they active on Tribble? I thought they weren't implemented yet.
Oh, they've been implemented.
Okay, what do I know I've been missing?
Yeah, so this is going to be fun now. The super rich are going to afford coalition disruptors and debuff every single target known to mankind.
Or they just have a fleet admiral who buys them. I mean, sorry, did I say that out loud? I run disruptors all the time, so I'm just sitting here and enjoying this because everybody's like, oh no, galore suck. No, they don't. They hurt a lot.
Unfortunately, this has already been known to the very top of the table for a while, so the price on coalition disruptors has already spiked up massively. Just earlier today, the coalition weapon boxes were selling at $4 million a pack, and trying to get a set of perfect damage 4s or crit D4s is going to set you back probably upwards of $1 billion plus CC.
Nice.
Oh, and they're character bound, so yeah, that really.
What?
Yeah, they are the only lockbox weapons post Delta Rising that are character bound instead of account bound.
Hell, even the ones before Delta Rising were retroactively changed to be account bound. Did someone
Now, not
slip
all of
and-
them.
Pretty sure most of them are account bound.
Like, I know Polarized Disruptors, Phase Tetra, and a lot of the early ones are still character bound also.
That's pretty interesting. All right, it's time for a little bit of a retrospective. So I haven't been on the show for a couple of weeks. I've been doing my own little thing. But Spencer, you've been actually soliciting feedback on the show. You've asked quite a few people about that already. It's a small sample size, but I would like to talk about some of this feedback. Can you fill us in on what some of our viewers have been saying about the show, good and bad?
Well, sometimes you're grumpy and sometimes you're not. It's really inconsistent. It's disappointing. They like it when you're really grumpy, Cam.
You can't be grumpy all the time.
What we've actually done here is I've got a little form together that's going to be in the show notes that I want everyone, if they can, to just go and look at and leave some feedback as to what you think about the show, if it's been improving or getting worse. There's a few different areas to type in, so just if you want, take a few minutes to get that done. So far from the feedback I've received, there's some comments about us being inconsistent about the devs. Sometimes we're a bit grumpy towards them, sometimes we're happy with them. I think that's understandable in some cases.
Well, about that, I mean, listen, we've been very upfront about this, and Odin will agree with me on this. We've said it, we've repeated it multiple times. If the devs do something good, we'll laud them for it. If they do something bad, we'll rake them over the coals. That's just how it is. We call it as we see it. But sorry, go ahead.
I'm trying to remember what else.
Well, the bottom line is that SOB was kind enough to create a survey, and we're going to include it in the show notes, and we encourage everybody to participate in it. Just leave your thoughts, suggestions, ideas, whatever you have on there. We want your honest opinion, so please, if you have something that's critical, by all means, say it. So long as it's constructive, other than you suck, it's fine. If you're saying we're tired of the technical difficulties, well, yeah, you're right, so am I, especially when they're unexplained. So I agree with you there. Other than that, though, I mean, just leave your opinions, leave your thoughts. We do appreciate feedback. If we're going to dish it, we're going to take it as well. And we're going to put that out there. Anything else you want to add to that, SOB?
That pretty much covers it.
Thank you.
Can I fill it out?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
You're famous now, so yes, you can fill out whatever the hell you want.
I'm not.
You're famous?
And TimberWolf,
when?
guess what? You don't have to do paperwork. Take a vacation.
No, it's Alan's show with friends.
Oh my god, I almost lost my shit that one day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Alan Show and his friends.
Oh my god.
So wait, when did that happen? I know I've been away, but Alan's famous now?
Dude, if you haven't listened to the last episode, go check it out. It was literally just gush on Alan Knight because, yeah, he was featured on, I forget what it was,
Scifiction.com.
Scifiction.com. There were some other folks that were loving his footage. Trek Yards has used some of his screenshots beforehand. Yeah, so people love his stuff.
Actually, I did watch that video, and I really did like it. I haven't had a chance to tell you that, so...
Which one?
So,
I've got a couple since you've gone away.
The 50th
Oh,
50th thing, the one that you're specifically talking about. Yeah, I watched it, so, and I haven't had a chance to talk to you in a while, so
yeah.
I'll
I
say
think
it right now. You suck.
Oh, thank you. I'll try and I'll. You know what? No, I'm not going there. No. I'm gonna be good this episode. No dirty jokes.
They're already saying in chat they want a theme song for Alan's show and Friends.
We need some sort of Canadian lovemaking song or something for him.
No, it's got to be the song off South Park. Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
Perfect. All right. Due to show time itself and our little fun stuff with technical difficulties, etc., I'm just going to post the notes on the current damage and damage resistance formula that R. Baker 82 and Talon 42 have delivered to us on Reddit. R. Baker 82 did some severe math on this one. We're talking like, geez, I haven't seen stuff like this since first year of calculus. So kudos to you, man, for doing that, and Talon 42 for breaking it down on Reddit and explaining it to people what this means and what should be it should be and what it is on holodeck. So I wanted to do a shout out for you. We'll include that. We'll include the notes on where Talon made his comments, and we'll do an explanation on it on the next show and in the show afterwards, especially when we had more playtime on Tribble to test out the fixed damage resistance formula and see exactly how our offense and defense are affected by it. Now we're actually going to go into class, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So sit down, take a seat, bring your shiny apple, or whatever the hell she actually likes these days. Class is in session. Teacher Kirby, teach us a lesson.
I have a note. I don't
Okay,
have to participate.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, Alan's excused.
Yes.
No, this week I did deuterium surplus. This is something that's been around for a while. A lot of the top end players use it. You'll see it on a lot of the top end builds on the STO Academy, but a lot of people don't know where to get it. So I actually show you go to the Alhina system and you do a little daily mission. You actually have to go to the system to get the mission. It's not advertised anywhere else that I'm aware of. So I show you exactly where to go to get it, what the mission looks like, what it says, and I actually go in and do the mission, show you how quick and easy it is, show you which tanks you go up to get the surplus, and bada boom, bada bing, done. So it's pretty quick, but this thing, deuterium surplus, is a pretty good speed boost. And as we all know, getting from point A to point B when there's no mobs to shoot at is pretty important to keeping your DPS up. So this definitely helps with that. And there's no other way to get it other than running the mission. So I show exactly how to do that.
Teacher, I have a question.
In the teacher's corner. Yes, Alan.
So would you say that it's a long road getting from there to here, and deuterium will help with that?
I see what you did there.
That was great, Alan.
Yeah.
That was good, Alan.
Deuterium is basically an evasive maneuver in a can, and with a daily mission you can get 4 units per day.
And it gives you a nice defensive boost, correct?
Yeah, it's basically an evasive maneuvers in a can.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So we're going to go on to some videos, and since we've given Alan a vacation, he hasn't produced much of anything here yet right now because we're still soaking in the sunlight finally, actually getting a tan and stuff.
Letting my brain rest, more like it. God.
Yeah, no joke. Well, you earned it, man. You earned it. That video's nice. Oh, by the way, congratulations on 500 subs.
Thank you. And if I could, I said this in chat, but I'm just going to say this for people who can't see the chat when they listen to this later. But if you have subscribed, thank you for subscribing. It means a lot. And for those who are listening and haven't subscribed, I hope that I put something out that will be worthy of your subscription. That is all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Now, Sarcasm, I see you started another channel here when you took your sabbatical from STO while you're gathering some intel. So, care to talk about that a little bit, please?
Yes, so what I've done is I've created a new channel. Actually, it's a YouTube channel that I've had for a while. It's been empty. I haven't actually been using it at all. So what I've done is I've started using it. The name of the channel is Sarcasm's Game. It doesn't have a custom URL yet, but soon will, as soon as I get 100 subscribers on it. This channel is, I've decided it's going to be dedicated to streaming only. So any Let's Play streams or anything else of that matter, anything that requires live streaming, I will be doing directly on this channel. And it will include various games, not just STO, but definitely STO, other games like Ark or Fallout 4 or whatever else I am playing at the moment. I will be using this channel. So the link for that will be in the show notes. Please subscribe because if not, you might miss some of my content in the future. My main channel is going to remain as it is, and I will be using it only for produced videos. So like my review videos, the shakedown videos, and other things like that, which I will get into more detail in a couple of minutes. Those will remain the same, and there of course will be multiple playlists. I'll be trying to keep things organized for the different games that I play. And speaking about the different games that I've been playing, I have, like Odin said, taken a little bit of a sabbatical from STO. I'm still logging in every day, basically to flip my dill, and wow, that sounded pretty bad. And to do the daily for the breach, I do it on 3 characters. So what? That's like 45 minutes an hour per day. It's pretty much all that I'm logging into STO now because sometimes you get a little bit frustrated, you get burnt out. And due to some conversations regarding the skill revamp, which to me seemed more of a balance pass than an actual skill revamp, I got a little bit frustrated and decided to play something else. And I've been playing a game called Ark Survival Evolved, which is actually a very nice sandbox. It's available on Steam. It's an early access game, so it's still an alpha. It's not complete yet, but they have a content release at most every 2 weeks, sometimes multiple content releases per week. What it involves is it's basically a sandbox. You wake up on a beach, you're naked, and there's dinosaurs around, and you have to survive, not get eaten. And for those of you who've seen some of my early playthroughs, like the very first stream I did on this, you might remember that I got eaten multiple times. Very frustrating. But I've gotten a little bit better at the game, and I've decided to make a new project now. So what I'm doing is making an episodic video series, which is going to be divided into seasons and episodes. I might be doing the same thing for STO and other games in the future, depending on how this goes. And season 1 is actually live right now. It's already published. I have 7 videos already published in the playlist for season 1. Episode 8 is ready for uploading. Episode 9 is rendering right now, and episode 10 has finished editing, and I will render it as soon as episode 9 is complete. So that's another 3 videos. And just to put things into perspective for you, that is 10 videos in 3 days. I might take a break soon and maybe put a week between the seasons for that. So I really recommend you guys check this out. It's on my main channel right now, and I will include the link to the playlist, the season 1 playlist, in the show notes. I'm still not very comfortable doing Let's Play. Usually I'm more of a produced video type. And what this is a Let's Play stream that I've chopped it up into half-an-hour segments just to make it a little bit easier to watch. I've sped up like some of the grindy bits and chopped out some of the useless bits just to make it a little bit more interesting. And hopefully, as the seasons go on with this, I'll get a little bit better. I might actually just start, instead of streaming, just doing it direct local recording and edit it that way. It depends. We'll see. It's an interesting project, and I'm learning quite a bit from it as well. Hopefully, you guys will watch the videos and like it.
Thank you very much, sir. This week in Trek, somebody activated warp drive and went to another solar system. That is all. Yeah, like seriously, there wasn't much of any major event that happened at some point in time, other than normal stuff happened. Hey, not every day is an exciting day everywhere. I'm sure we could probably put out which episode aired and what date and whatnot, but that's not the really interesting part here. What we do have, though, in science and space is that 50 years ago today, Gemini 8 performed the first ever space docking. Really, really important stuff, especially if you want to build a space station or dock with another spacecraft, probe, whatever. You might want to actually have something that actually works the first time around. And you're thinking, oh, it's docking. What's the big deal? Lots. Go read up about it. We're going to put it on the show notes, and I'm going to include some supplemental notes on it as far as how hard it is to actually dock a spacecraft in low Earth orbit. We're also going to have a couple other links in there for science and technology. Pretty much that'll cover more or less your fun stuff for those people who are intellectual and nerdy. You'll get to enjoy that there. And I want to do a shout out to a DJ over on Trek Radio, DJ Snacks. We love you, brother. For everybody here on the show, keep up the good work. And we will like to listen to you. I believe you spin on the weekends on there, but we will check up with you and get the venue in there. We already have the link to trekradio.com. trekradio.com. Not the .org one, although we'll still give a nod to the .org one, but DJ Snacks is on trekradio.com. Other than that, anybody else have any closing words for this episode of the show, aside from go Axanar, go fair use, and go non-profiteering for stuff that we can actually use as Trek for everybody to enjoy?
I have a final note. I want to give a shout out to a ship, the Crenum Imperium. If you don't have one, it's like one of the best ships out there. You should definitely buy one.
I guess you have one on the exchange you're trying to sell, right?
That would be my guess.
My guess is he has two.
It's a really good ship. It's like, it's scimitar level of good.
Austin, I'm not sure if 11.5 will be dropping by the end of the month. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. I don't know. SOB, what do you think 11.5 will come out?
Okay, so here's how the pattern typically works for STO. They follow a nice, 3-month pattern with everything. Lockboxes are all released on this 3-month cycle, and typically content's released on this 3-month cycle also. So go 3 months from the from the start of the anniversary event, and then you'll have the release date for this new season, or half season, and the new lockbox, which nobody knows anything about. Shh.
We heard
They
that.
did say they were slowing things down this year, especially for the featured episode. So I wonder if that also includes their season release cycle.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we shall see. But for everybody here on the show, we'd like to go on, Teacher. Go on.
I was going to say they did hint in the first blog about the new skill tree that it would be released with 11.5 in early spring. So, but as far as I know, that's the only hint as to an actual time frame.
Early spring. That would be
It's 6
now.
weeks. 6 weeks.
6 weeks minimum.
No, it should be 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks.
Okay. Well, we'll see what we can do here. Thank you very much, Chief JAG Officer Shaarot, for joining us tonight. We appreciate your insight in this whole quagmire here, and we do agree on one thing. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes, and we hope it does not interfere with other fan productions, especially the ones we love and enjoy.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem. For everybody here on the show, this is Odin Knight. We'll see you out there, or in game, or being eaten by a dinosaur, or all of the above. Have fun, everybody. Listen to DJ Snacks on TrekRadio.com.
.com,
mofo.com. Good night, folks.
Good night, folks.